Welcome back to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and very excited to welcome back our next guest. She's a highly energetic and passionate speaker, inspiring a faithful and zealous generation of Catholics. She's also one of the hosts of The Quest, a pilgrimage of faith in the GRN afternoon lineup. Sarah Soto, good morning and welcome back to the show, Sarah.
Hey, Keith. Thanks for having me back on.
Yeah, of course. Now, what I absolutely love about how you talk on the air, you really help make these topics that might be a little challenging to talk about a bit easier to digest, and definitely done so in a relatable tone. And now that the show has been rebranded from A Life Lived Joyfully to The Quest, I'm curious to know what kind of topics you'll be discussing.
Yeah, I was thinking, it's a big deal, right, to rebrand a show. It's been on for I think a year and a half, maybe 2 years, and so we're undergoing this big change. And I'm thinking for our listeners, have you ever thought like my second favorite show on GRN besides Morning Joy, A Life Lived Joyfully? I can't tell people about it. The title is just too long. It takes too much effort. And if only it had a shorter, cooler
Mm.
title, then we would spread the news all the more. And well, your answers, we have your prayers have been answered. And so now, A Life Lived Joyfully will be The Quest. The little longer title is a pilgrimage of faith. And so,
Mm.
um, we have three hosts, which is a little strange, right? It's a little unusual to have one show with three hosts, but we each have different days. There's Monsignor Charles Pope, whose name speaks for itself. And then
Mhm.
Steve Gleason, he's on Wednesdays. He's, like a former evangelical pastor, so that's its own cool thing. And then I'm on Mondays and Thursdays, and I cover a lot of stuff, a lot
Mhm.
of things that are relevant to me in my life, which is married life, right? Being a mom,
Right.
um, reminding women that we're not our husbands like aren't our children, and so we shouldn't like get after them for the things that they do. Which is it's so odd. It's like it's funny to hear it, right?
Yeah.
But I witnessed so many women talking down to their husbands. I mean, and you shouldn't talk down to your children either, like, but
Yeah.
like their kids, like they're not capable, right? And so I like to be a friendly thorn in their side, and help them remember that I know it was like a big, exciting day, and you had this like big dress on, and you had champagne and cake and all that stuff. But you did say that you would promise to honor him all the days of your life. And when you fail to do so, you're not upholding your wedding vows. And what do we think, right, when priests don't uphold their vows? And so it's very
Right.
serious, and it's certainly I do like to have a lot of guests. I do like to make a lot of like jokes, some of which fall flat, as you are familiar with. Not because yours fall flat, because you've heard me. But yeah, it's a really great show, and we cover about 1,000,000,001 different things, and like each host has their own sort of flavor. But mine is definitely more like family, married life, going on mission. I know several. I'm a part of the Society of Our Lady of the Most Holy Trinity, and they have priests, brothers, sisters, and laity. So I have a ton of SOLT members on. You've
Mm.
probably heard Sister Miriam James. She's a SOLT member. And so I got a lot of, yeah, we do mission work, and I talk a lot about the theology of the body. And if it's all right with you, I'd like to share a little bit of a story.
Yeah. Yeah, please.
You're
Yeah.
like, yeah,
Share us a
tell,
story.
tell all the stories. So your listeners can get a little bit of a taste of what it's like to come on the quest with
Mm.
Sarah Soto. So yesterday, and every mom of a toddler can relate to this in like a primal level. Yesterday, I needed to wash my hair. And so my husband agreed to take our 20-month-old to the grocery store, which is like striking gold for a mom. And so I struck the gold, he left, and we had Tropical Storm Alberto.
Oh.
And it wasn't too bad. Obviously, they went to the grocery store. He comes back with, I'm not making this name up, with 2 dozen absolute pink roses. Called absolute pink, right? Only Sith. But anyway, so he comes back with all these roses, these beautiful roses, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love these roses so much. And I'm gushing over them. And he says that this man comes up to him and he sees that he's got the roses with my son in the cart, and he's like, well, what'd you do wrong? And
Oh.
my husband was like, excuse me? And he was like, well, obviously you messed up pretty bad to have to get all those. And my husband was like, no, 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 these are just because I love my wife. And he's like, son, I've been married 25 years. You don't buy roses like that if ever, I mean, just because, right? and the last time he bought me flowers, which he doesn't do it every day. I mean, that'd be
Sure.
ridiculous, but he does pretty often, right? And another woman was like, "Well, that's a big way. That's a nice way to say you're sorry, right?" So all these like it's happened several times where people have
What?
made these assumptions that he's buying flowers, not out of like thoughtfulness, but out
Yeah.
of trying to make up for right some shortcoming. And I just wanted to the taste I'd like to give to the Morning Joy listeners for the things I cover on the quest is I just want to say, like I mentioned earlier, I think, and maybe my husband can come on and tell you otherwise, but I think my husband buys me flowers because I do my very best not to mother him, you know?
Mm,
I don't like he smokes cigars. I don't love it, but I don't ask him not to. I
mm,
don't tell him to stop. He likes he really likes Star Wars and Lord of the Rings and video games. I totally hate video games. No offense to our video game guys out there, guys and gals. I just really don't like them. But I don't stand over him and say, "What's wrong with you? Why do you like video games? Video games are
yeah.
dumb. They're for losers." Like, why would I say something like that to him? He's an adult man. He makes his own decisions. And so, but I think what's really essential for us, right, and for a healthy marriage where, I mean, obviously there's trials left and right in every marriage, but I really listen to him, right? When he's talking to me about whatever software engineering is, I don't know.
Hmm.
I mean, that's apparently what he does for a living, but when he talks to me about it, I put my phone down and I listen to
Mm,
him and I listen to his stories about what's going on. And I might have no clue what he's explaining about a certain problem he's having, but I try to give him my full undivided attention because I love him,
yeah.
obviously, but I want to uphold the vow that I made to honor him and to cherish him. And so I think that when he feels honored and when he feels cherished is when he, ladies, if you're listening, buys me flowers for no reason. And it's sad that we live in a world, and I don't want to speak for the gentleman yesterday who said BS, but
Sure.
not the abbreviated version to my husband when he said these are for no reason. I don't want to speak for him, but if you've been married for 25 years, and obviously I don't blame all women or all men for the issues in married life, there's a lot of other things going on. But if you're being treated like a child, right? Or if you're not being honored, if you don't honor your wife and you don't honor your husband, I mean, there's
Yeah.
obviously going to be a lot of disrespect and issues that come up. And so you might
Yeah.
have to apologize in absolute pink roses very often. And so I talk about a lot of stuff like that, but that's kind of a general feel for what we chat about on the
Yeah.
quest.
The quest. Yeah, that's so cool because he was, I mean, essentially evangelizing in a way by going and purchasing those absolute pinks without really knowing that he was, showing like this is what an authentically Catholic marriage looks like. I can buy my
Mhm.
wife roses without uh, being like a sorry gift, right?
Right.
That's very
Mhm.
cool.
He's
Actually,
very
hey,
cool. He's a cool guy.
sounds like it,
Mhm.
yeah. Now, hey, you're listening to Morning Joy, where truth matters. I'm your host, Keith Downey, and we are talking with Sarah Soto, one of the hosts of the newly rebranded show, The Quest. Which, for those that might not be able to catch it on the radio, especially those in Central Illinois, it can be found on Rumble, YouTube, X, and Instagram. It's streamed live on those platforms. Now, Sarah, the theme of The Quest is a pilgrimage of faith. And yesterday we talked a little about going on pilgrimages locally. That won't break the bank. But do you have any pilgrimage stories?
I have several, but I'd like to share just one since I've been talking about married life.
Yeah.
My husband and I, so we're based in South Texas, and we were trying to decide on a honeymoon. We have some friends that are missionaries in New Mexico, and
Mm,
it's in the mountains. We don't have any of those down here. My husband had never even seen mountains. And so I was like, surely you should go see the mountains. It's very flat. We're like exactly at sea level here. And so we got married in October. So it was really nice weather, which we're also not used to in South Texas. And so we decided to make a road trip after like we met and got married in 6 months, and we obviously like weren't having sleepovers. We didn't live together, and so it's
right.
all very like okay. Suddenly we're thrust into a 14-hour road trip together, and we went to Santa Fe for a lot of reasons. But my husband had completed his 30-day consecration to Saint Joseph.
Mm,
And at the end of it, he wanted to make a pilgrimage, right, in Thanksgiving to St. Joseph. And so we went to Santa Fe to see the miraculous staircase
mm,
that was built. It's believed to be have been built by Saint Joseph.
Right.
This it's a if, for those who are listening and are not familiar, it's at the Sisters of Loretto had a chapel in the late 1800s, and the architect, I believe, died before he completed a way
Mm.
to get from the church itself to the choir loft. And so, unless they were planning on levitating, they were kind of out of luck. And they prayed a 9-day or a novena, right, to Saint Joseph, and then a man just appeared, locked himself in the chapel for 3 months. No one ever saw him go in or out. But he built this, I say miraculous staircase because it does 2 full spirals before it gets to the top of the choir loft, and there's no
Mm.
center structure.
Hmm.
There's no nails, there's no glue. It's architects after atheist architects, right? Non-Catholic architects have gone and inspected the structure of the staircase, and there's just no way to explain how it's standing.
Hmm.
And then he left without payment, right? And they tried to find him, and he never showed up again. And so this very, very beautiful and miraculous staircase in this beautiful chapel, um, my husband wanted to go to, and so we made a part of our honeymoon, right? We made this pilgrimage
Hmm.
to go see the staircase and pay homage to Saint Joseph and give him thanksgiving. And it was a very powerful beginning to our marriage. My husband we both have devotions to Saint Joseph, but he particularly to him as terror of demons and as the head of our
Mm.
household. Can't think of a better guy to be in tune with for husbands and fathers. And so it was really beautiful. It's a really beautiful way to start. We had just gone to mass at their cathedral, San
Oh,
Fernando. That
so
sounds right.
beautiful.
And then we walked over to the staircase. And hey, guess what? If you're not from New Mexico, it's harder to breathe up there because it's like 7,000 feet up in the air. And so that's just for you Texans thinking about making this beautiful pilgrimage. Just a warning to you all.
My goodness. Well, thank you so much for sharing that awesome story, and thank you for hopping on, Sarah,
Yeah,
for our morning show. Now we can catch you obviously on the show, The Quest. That's every weekday, 4 p.m. Central. You are in a couple days, Monday and Thursdays, correct?
that's right.
Yep, Mondays and Thursdays. You can also catch sarahsotospeaks.com. It's her website. But this is the end of the show. We can see you right after on the After Show Clubhouse. Just search Morning Joy on all our social medias. But otherwise, hey, God bless, and make it a joyful day. We'll see you tomorrow morning, 6 a.m. Central.
This has been Morning Joy, where truth matters, hosted by Keith Downey. Take some joy with you today. Visit grnonline.com/joy to listen again, share a segment, or answer the question of the day. That's grnonline.com/joy.